Does technical analysis really work? So I will be making a whole series on technical analysis on my channel. The series is going to be called Let's Get Technical, and this will be episode 1 of the series. In future videos, I'm going to get much more in depth with different strategies for technical analysis, but today we're going to focus on the basics, and I'm going to introduce you guys to technical analysis. So really, I want to focus on 4 questions today. What is technical analysis? Why does it work? What is support and resistance? And how do you read a candle chart? So let's get right into it and go over the first question, which is, what is technical analysis? So pretty much what technical analysis is using past data and charts to make decisions on future trades. So there are many different types of technical analysis indicators that you can use. For example, moving averages. And moving averages are just pretty much the average of X amount of days of a closing price of a stock. So when you hear people say a 20-day moving average, that just means the last 20 days closing price average of the stock. There are also different patterns that traders study, like reversal patterns, triangle patterns, or ABCD patterns. But don't worry and don't stress out over this, because that's exactly what I plan to cover in future episodes of this series. So does technical analysis really work? Well, the short answer is yes. And the reason is because there's just so many people out there that use technical analysis to make trade decisions. Now, they could be doing this manually, whether they go in and analyze the charts and make a decision that way, or they can set up algorithms or algos that do this automatically for them based on certain criteria. Now, it's important to note that not all stocks will follow technical analysis. Penny stocks or stocks that are not very liquid are typically stocks that don't follow technical analysis, and a lot of new investors fall into this trap and try to use all their analysis on these tiny little stocks, and they get manipulated by the market movers and you end up losing all your money. So based on my experience, I found that using technical analysis works best on larger cap stocks. So I'm thinking stocks like Apple, Amazon, Netflix, Facebook. All of these stocks that have hundreds of billions of dollars work really well with technical analysis. Now, if you want to look at smaller stocks, I do find that even stocks that are in the tens of billions or even over 1 billion seem to work pretty good with technical analysis. But if you go into the hundreds of millions or even the tens of millions, that's where you could find issues using technical analysis when making your trade decisions. So I personally would suggest staying away from that. Now, one thing that you have to know when trading with technical analysis is that fundamentals will always trump technicals. So for example, say a company comes out with some bad news, but the technicals make it look like the stock is about to break out and make new all-time highs. That doesn't really matter in this situation because the fundamentals will overrule this and people are going to sell on fundamentals. So just because you see a breakout potential does not mean that it will play out if the fundamentals of the company changes. So let's take a look at Facebook from last week, which was showing signs of consolidation, and a bull flag, which showed signs that it was going to break out and make new all-time highs. But what happened on Friday morning was that an article came out saying that Facebook is going to be making changes to its platform, and this could affect its revenue and profits directly. Now, this sent investors into a panic, and the stock gapped down and sold off. However, it's still in a good technical range. If you take a look at the chart, you can see that here it went up to its 20-day moving average at the highs of the day, and then it sold off and closed below its 20 and 50-day moving average. Both the 20 and the 50-day moving averages are acting currently as a resistance on the stock. So this perfectly segments us into our next question, which is, what is support and resistance? So to better answer this question, I thought we'd take a look at the whiteboard over here. But before we do that, let me just quickly define what support and resistance is. Support is pretty much a level that a stock drops to, and it's able to hold that level. So that means buyers come into that level at a stock and start moving it higher. They're not going to let it drop below this support level. Now, resistance is the exact opposite. It's a level that's acting as resistance. So when the stock comes up and hits that level, a lot of people start selling that stock, and then we see the stock moving down. So there's a lot of selling pressure at that level. So if we take a look at our whiteboard chart over here, you can see that I have a sample graph over here. And what we're going to do is draw some support and resistance lines to give you guys a better visual of what each of them means. So first, let's draw a support line. So you can see here that the stock dropped to this level and then dropped to the same level again at a future date. So we could say that this level around here is your support. You can see that when the stock came down to this level, a lot of buyers came in and started moving it back up. But then later, there was more selling pressure, it started moving back down. But again, once it hit this level, there was a lot of buying pressure, and that started pushing it back up. So we could say that this right here is the level of support. Now, as a contrast, you can see that this up here is acting as a level of resistance. And that is because whenever the stock comes up to that level and hits that, a lot of sellers come in, start selling the stock, and then we start moving lower. Buyers come back in, buy it, we hit that level again, and that's when the sellers come back in and start selling the stock. So this is a very basic and high-level understanding of what support and resistance is. Of course, when you're looking at charts, it's not going to be as cut and dry, and it's not going to be as clear to find. But with this series that I'm doing, my goal here is to help you guys better understand these levels so you're able to see these in the stocks that you regularly trade. Now, the last thing I want to cover in this video is to go over some candle charts to just give you guys a better understanding of what this means, because understanding this will help make your life a lot easier when you're using technical analysis. So first, let's take a look at the red candle over here. So typically, when you have a red candle, that signifies that the stock closed lower than it opened on that day. So say the stock price opened at $10 right here. This would be the level that it opened at. And it closed at $8. So that means the stock dropped $2 in that day. But now if you look at the candle, you'll see that there's these wicks up here and down here. And this pretty much means that the stock moved up to that level, which could be, say, maybe $11 at some point during the day. But it also dropped down to this level right here, which could maybe be $7. And that would be the low of the day. But the most important part really is the body of the candle. And that just signifies the open and the close and pretty much the movement in the stock during that day. Now, if you extend this to the green candle, this will just be the complete opposite of a red candle. So here you have the open. Here you have the close. Say you opened at $10. You closed at $15. This could be your high maybe at $16. This could be your low maybe at $9. And pretty much a green candle signifies that you closed higher than you opened at on the day. So typically when looking at candle charts, all you really need to understand for now is that when you see a red candle, that means the stock price went down that day. And when you see a green candle, that means that the stock price went up that day. I hope this video provided some value to you guys, and I hope that it answers some basic questions you might have about what technical analysis is and how it works. If you enjoyed this episode, stay tuned because in future episodes, I do plan to go more in depth about the different indicators and patterns that I went over earlier in this video. And I will also go over some patterns and indicators that I personally use when I trade stocks. So that's it from me, guys. Thank you so much for watching, and remember to invest positively. Peace.